Hi, everyone. Welcome to today's presentation on how to save money on the cost of college. And we're going to be talking about the new FAFSA after the FAFSA Simplification Act. So we're going to be talking about all the new rules that you need to be aware of. So a little bit about college financial prep. This was started close to 8, 9 years ago, 10 years ago. I have my MBA from Syracuse University, where I went on a full merit ride. They actually paid me to go there. Then I got divorced and became a divorce coach, helping people with their personal finances. And the topic of college kept on coming up, and people were always looking for how to save money on the cost of college. And this is the one area, certainly in divorce, where it certainly can be a win-win for both parents. So let's dive right in. As Ben Franklin said, if you fail to plan, you plan to fail. So let's talk about the information that you need to plan for to reduce college costs. So we're going to start with the college timeline. The end of junior year through senior year in high school is certainly the most stressful time with planning for college, the most that needs to be done. The deciding on the college list, the submitting applications, preparing for financial aid, writing essays, lots and lots and lots of stuff to do junior and senior, and SATs and ACTs, depending on the schools that your children are applying to. Now, it's during the summer, right when they're finishing 11th grade and getting ready for 12th grade, that it's the time when the students and the families should be planning the college list, putting together that ideal college list, thinking about college affordability, what schools will be financially friendly for the student and the family, and then also thinking about the Common App and essays. It's great to start early to prepare. Fall, October 1st, is the date that the financial aid applications typically open. So that is typically fall of senior year. This year, FAFSA is delayed. It was delayed again last year too. And that is opening December 1st this year. So for the students who have families who were seniors, it's opening December 1st. The CSS profile, though, is open right now. And this is administered by the College Board, which is the same organization that administers the SAT and AP exams. The CSS profile is only used by a limited number of colleges. If your college does not mention the CSS profile at all, then don't worry about it. But it's important to check your college list to make sure that you don't miss sending the CSS profile if it is requested by your college. At this point in time, right now, we're at the end of October. Hopefully, all of the seniors will have put together their college list, will certainly be working on submitting the Common App if they haven't already, and have taken care of their personal statement and, maybe still working on some supplemental essays. During the winter time is when the colleges typically ask for verification about information that was submitted on the financial aid applications. Not everyone gets verified, but maybe a third of the students, a college will come back and ask for something. That's why it's so important to make sure everything on the applications is accurate. Also during winter, students may begin to receive their college acceptance letters now. This is when the students will typically find out if merit scholarships have been offered. And again, this is just merit. It has nothing to do with need-based aid or final costs. Right now is also when, during winter, that the students should certainly start their search for college scholarships if they haven't already. And everyone can visit collegefinancialprep.com/scholarships to see some scholarship search sites and databases. Spring of senior year is the time when the schools will send out their financial award offers. It's important to review these, to analyze these, maybe ask for more free money from the colleges. May 1st is college decision day. So all your decisions need to be made before May 1st. My recommendation, though, is to hold off as close as possible till May 1st before you put down any college deposits. If you put it down too early, then there's no way that a school will want to give you more money. So, which brings us back to summer. And now we're talking about the summer after senior year. So, this is when our new graduates and their families are going to be thinking about acquiring student loans. And also, if a family has special circumstances and they need to file an appeal, it could be done now too. Special circumstances, maybe somebody lost their job, maybe there's a medical illness, something new that wasn't reflected in their tax returns that they submitted for financial aid. And also, just remember with financial aid applications, they do need to be submitted every year that the students are in college or even for graduate school. And that's because household finances can change every single year. So it's always important to remember to do that. So now let's talk about FAFSA. Actually, I want to say somebody just. Okay, so we're going to talk about FAFSA now and why everyone should submit the FAFSA application. I always get the question, oh, we earn too much money. We're not going to get any need-based aid. Why should I submit FAFSA? And here are the reasons why. Yes, it's to apply for need-based aid. And let me explain that. Actually, I'll explain that in a minute. You apply for need-based aid. Also, even if your household earns millions of dollars, if you want your kids to have, a little bit of skin in the game, so to speak, and you want them to take out a student loan for $5,500, you do that by applying through the FAFSA. So the FAFSA application needs to be submitted just for the students to apply for a student loan. Also, you submit FAFSA to apply for work-study programs, and also because financial circumstances for the households can change. As I mentioned earlier, maybe somebody loses a job, maybe something, horrific happens and it impacts the family financially. Maybe there's a separation, maybe there's a loss of a parent, something. If you have FAFSA on file with the school, it's then possible to ask them to re-review it. And then you may be able to save money for the current year. So very important to submit FAFSA. Now, I mentioned before about applying for need-based aid, and people automatically think that they're not going to qualify. So let me tell you how FAFSA works. First, you submit FAFSA, it goes to the government, they review it. They may say, no, you do not qualify for any grants from the government. But then they're going to pass it along to each individual college. And the colleges don't expect everyone to be able to afford, crazy numbers. It could be as high as $90,000, $95,000 a year. They don't expect, the average middle class family to be able to afford that. So they may offer need-based aid from the college. So yes, very important to submit FAFSA. So what is FAFSA? FAFSA is the free application for federal student aid. And this is how, by filling out this form, is how the federal government can help pay for college. Also, I mentioned the colleges use FAFSA. Also, many states will also use FAFSA to determine how much financial aid they're going to award. FAFSA will ask about both the student and the family's finances. They'll look for tax returns from both the parents and the student if it's available. W-2 forms, they'll want bank account balances, investments. They'll want to know about your business if you're a business owner. So they do look for a lot of information. On FAFSA, and again, this is the new FAFSA with the FAFSA Simplification Act. FAFSA is just an application. A lot of people think, oh, FAFSA is going to award money. No, FAFSA is just an application. You can list up to 20 colleges. on the FAFSA application. And then the form gets reviewed by the government. And then about a week or two later is when your colleges that you had listed on the FAFSA will receive the application. And then that's when they'll review your application to determine how much aid that the college will offer you. And you'll be notified of their review and how much they're going to offer you, typically in March, when the all of the colleges release their financial award letters. This was true with last year. It may also be true with this year because FAFSA is delayed again. So predictions for this year's 12th grade families, that the colleges that take the CSS profile, they may rely more heavily on the CSS profile this year, just to not cause delays. Delays at the college financial aid offices. Since FAFSA is delayed to December, it may cause delays in the college financial aid offices, which in turn can lead to delays for the prospective students in receiving their financial award letters. And therefore, there'll likely be less time for the families to choose a college, and based on the numbers. Again, May 1st is typically that college decision deadline. So, what are some changes from the FAFSA Simplification Act? If you have more than one child in college at the same time, the FAFSA application used to take that into account. They are no longer doing that, which is, awful for families. If you have two in college at the same time, you can expect to pay the full thing for both, as opposed to, that number being cut in half based on your need. So it impacts everyone that has more than one child in college at a time. If you're a small business owner, now you have to report your total business worth on your FAFSA application. That didn't used to be the case. If you're separated or divorced, certainly it makes there's more reason to secure merit scholarships now. They changed the rules. It's not simply the custodial parent who fills out FAFSA. It's now the parent who provides the most financial support for the child, is the parent who fills out FAFSA. That's not to say it's the custodial parent or the non-custodial parent, because either parent can be the one who provides more financial support. And really, after financial aid and merit scholarships, it is possible for a private university to ultimately cost less than a state university. Don't immediately rule private schools out. We'll talk a little bit about that as we go along. So how to reduce the cost of college? Well, first you need to know what the costs are before you can reduce them. So typical costs: tuition, room and board, miscellaneous fees. Of course, there are supplies, computers, books. If your kids join a fraternity, a sorority, travel expenses, especially now, so many kids want to go down south. If you live in New York, there's tutoring costs. Certainly the cost to set up college application fees. If anybody's applying to SUNY, this is still free this week to send in those free applications. The cost to set up a dorm room if they're living on campus. The kids need spending money, cell phones, dorm insurance. There's also tuition insurance for those that are interested. So lots of expenses to consider. So how to save money? I like to use what we call the goals system. You want to generate a college list, and you want to make sure that there are financially friendly schools on that college list. Again, October 1st is typically when the financial aid forms open. Right now, the CSS profile is open. So that's what College Financial Prep is working on right now. We're also starting to set up accounts for FAFSA. So that can be done now as well. Then certainly in the spring, we want to analyze all of the financial aid awards for the schools where the student was accepted. We want to look for more money, whether it's from scholarships, for requesting additional funding from the schools, and then we're going to secure student loans. Of course, we want to minimize student loans and certainly minimize the interest rate on those when possible. So, how do we go about generating a college list? We want to put together a college list that has reach schools, target schools, safety schools, but also financially friendly schools. Typically, the safety schools on the list are the ones that are going to likely offer more in merit scholarship money. So, if your goal is merit scholarships, make sure that there are a good amount of safety schools on the list. And how do we find the free money? So, with merit scholarships, mostly the merit money, the most merit money, the most dollars will come from the colleges themselves. And it's awarded for a variety of reasons, not just academics. Maybe your child is a leading French horn player. Maybe they've selected a major and a college is offering it as a brand new major and they're looking to entice students to attend that program. Maybe they're looking for students from other geographical regions. So they're willing to offer your student a merit scholarship to entice them to go to their school. Lots of different reasons out there about why schools offer merit scholarships, which are really just like discounts to entice you to go there. Need-based aid is also free money. So how do you get that? You have to fill out the financial aid forms, and you have the FAFSA. Some states also have their own financial aid forms. There's the CSS profile, and then some colleges have their own institutional forms to complete. So let's talk a little bit about honors programs. And I think this is a great way to save money. They have lots of benefits, the honors programs. Some of them include great merit scholarships, first of all. They also typically offer priority housing, priority registration, living and learning communities, smaller class sizes, more interaction with faculty and special programs. I think these are great opportunities for all students. It's not just if the student is a 4.0 student and a 1600 on the SAT. It is for everyone because they're all different level colleges. All different level colleges also offer honors programs. So important to consider, I think, if you're looking to save money. Now, test optional colleges, I bring this up because if your child is a good test taker, definitely encourage them to take the SAT or the ACT because the schools are still using these to award merit money. If the school is test blind, no, they're not going to look at it. But if the school is test optional, definitely consider sending test scores if they're very good. So now let's talk about financial aid. And we're going to talk about need-based aid, which can consist of any of the following. Pell Grants, which are free money. Typically, a household needs to earn less than $60,000, typically. Work-study programs are also considered need-based aid. And then there are subsidized loans. Subsidized loans do not accrue interest while the child is in college. For undergraduates, the FAFSA will look at both the students and the parents' income and assets, as well as a whole bunch of other factors, even including the parents' birthdays. They'll want to see how close the parents are to retirement age. So they consider a whole bunch of different factors in the formulas. So when you apply for FAFSA, it used to be EFC, expected family contribution. Now they are calling the calculation student aid index. Let's jump into what it actually means. It could be the amount that you'll pay for college, or it may not be. It's a very confusing number, but the lower the number is, ideally, the less you will pay for college. And that number can go as low as negative 1,500. But here, let's give two examples. We're going to talk about School A and School B. And School A will meet 100% of a household's need. So say after the formula, it comes out to be $10,000 per year that the government believes that the family can afford. Well, the cost of attendance at school A is $70,000 per year. 70 take away 10, you have $60,000 that this family needs to help pay for college. And since school A meets 100% need, the student's cost will be $10,000. But then there's school B, and school B meets 50% of need. So the family or the household still has the same expected contribution student aid index of $10,000 per year. School B also costs $70,000 per year, so they still need $60,000. But here's the difference. School B only meets 50% of need. So instead of giving them $60,000, they're only going to give them $30,000. So they're going to expect this student and their family to pay the original $10,000 plus an additional $30,000. So this school is going to cost the student $40,000 as compared to school A, that's $10,000. And every single school has their own formula to use. So they're all very independent of one another. So work study is also applied for through FAFSA. The students can work in an on-campus job. They receive a paycheck. They don't have to put it towards tuition. They can if they want, but it can also be used for spending money. It's also up to the student to find that position once they get on campus. Even if they don't qualify for work study because it's need-based, I think it's great when the kids get jobs on campus. They get work experience for their resume. They learn time management skills. And when the job is quiet, they get to do their homework. So let's talk a little bit about some other college financial aid forms. We mentioned the CSS profile, state-based financial aid forms, and institutional forms. So there are, I think, just shy of 400 colleges that use the CSS profile. This is an financial aid application administered by the College Board, the same organization that administers the SATs, the AP exams. So they also have a financial aid application, and the schools use it to award grants and scholarships. So the CSS profile is great, very, very different from FAFSA. The CSS profile does a much deeper dive. It provides a more holistic view of the household's finances. Major differences between the CSS and FAFSA is that the CSS looks at the value of your primary residence as well as your retirement accounts, whereas FAFSA doesn't. So quick story, true story about my broken down heating system. That happened New Year's Eve a few years ago. Fortunately, on New Year's Day, I was able to get a couple of estimates. There was water all over my basement. It was lovely. Anyway, I got the first estimate, and then the second person came, and it wasn't just price, but I decided to go with the second person. And I called the first person back to thank him, certainly for coming on New Year's Day. And the first thing he said to me was, "Can I give you a better price?" And I'm sharing this story with you because colleges are also businesses. Sometimes they're willing to negotiate with you and give you a better price. So I just want to leave that thought with you. Let's talk about different types of appeals. Requesting additional money just because. And then also there are special circumstances. We started to talk about these earlier. When we fill out a FAFSA form, so right now the kids who are seniors and going to be filling out the FAFSA form, they're going to be using 2023 tax returns. They're going to school in fall 2025. A lot can happen between 2023 tax returns and fall of 2025. As I mentioned earlier, there could be a job loss, there could be a divorce, there can be so many things that are financially different. And sometimes it is necessary to file an appeal. So it can be done. It just can't be addressed on the FAFSA form. It needs to be addressed separately. Let's talk a little bit about student loans now. Currently, there's $1.74 trillion of student loan debt in the United States. 54% of college attendees are taking on debt to pay for their education. The average amount of student loan debt per borrower is close to $38,000. For kids that go on to graduate school, though, that number like skyrockets to help, so that they can pay for their graduate school education. So I'm sharing this with you because a lot of times people assume, oh, my kid wants to go to that $90,000 a year school. Let them take out the loans to pay for it. And unfortunately, it just doesn't, maybe not unfortunately, but it just doesn't work that way. Freshmen are allowed to take out loans up to $5,500 per year. Sophomores can take out up to $6,500 per year. And juniors and seniors can take out up to $7,500 each year. There's no credit history check. The kids don't need a cosigner, but those are their limits. If the family qualifies for need-based aid, you can get subsidized loans instead of unsubsidized loans, which is better because the subsidized loans do not accrue interest when the child is in college, whereas the unsubsidized loans, they start accruing interest as soon as you take the money out. So if you take out money freshman year, you're already paying interest on those loans. So then what happens after, the kids take out $5,500? Well, the parents can then take out Parent Plus loans, which are through the government. Or it's possible for the student to take out private student loans, but then they're going to need the parent as a cosigner. It's very, very hard, nearly impossible for a student to be considered independent on the financial aid forms. It has to be a situation where the parents are, for one reason or another, just no longer involved in the student's life to possibly be considered independent. So planning ahead. So, like weight loss, these results aren't typical, but yeah, I've had clients save hundreds of thousands of dollars on the cost of college. So how did they do that? They carefully selected the right colleges for them to apply to based on their situation. Of course, the child had to be accepted to those schools as well. And then they had to choose to go to the best school that was going to maximize their savings. So it certainly is possible. And it's certainly possible to save lots of money on the cost of college, even if it's not hundreds of thousands of dollars. So let's talk a little bit about divorce, widowhood, and other extenuating circumstances. The key is to be strategic, applying to the right colleges and universities. Perhaps if you're divorced, you want to look for colleges that won't request the other parent's financial information. Certainly schools that look, not all schools, but many schools that require the CSS profile will look for both parents' information. If your finances are limited, you certainly want to determine net costs before submitting applications. See if it's in the realm of possibility. And if you're looking to receive merit scholarships, look at your students' academic achievements. Make sure that to match them up with each college, apply to those safety schools, apply to those honors programs. That will certainly help with receiving merit scholarships. The reach schools don't need to offer merit scholarships. It's kind of like supply and demand. Everybody wants to go to that reach school, so they don't need to offer merit scholarship money. So success stories and failures. Success stories always come with lots of planning. Planning early, planning in advance, applying early. The failures, and I've literally had this happen. Somebody called me as they were driving to the college saying that the bill was due the next day. How can I help them save money? At that point, there's not much I can do. Saving money, it starts with, the right college list, the financial aid applications, searching for scholarships, both the institutional scholarships directly from the schools themselves and private scholarships. We do private scholarship searches also. And all those steps in between. So please don't wait to the last minute. And just remember, there's no right or wrong path to college. Um, some people choose to go to a local college and live at home to save some money. Some people choose to go to an in-state university to save money. Some people choose to go to a faraway college that gives them lots of merit money to save money. They were all different ways to save money. And also, some people, everybody has different values when it comes to selecting a college. So let's talk a little bit about communication. Certainly, I always recommend talking to our kids as early as possible in the process. Certainly by the beginning of 12th grade, communicate what your college budget may be, what it looks like. Work together towards common goals. You don't have to share your income. You don't have to share the amount you have in assets. But I would certainly share what your goals are in terms of your children's college education and work together. I've seen too often a week before college decision day, May 1st, I see at the end of April, where parents have to say to their kids, I'm sorry, we can't afford your dream school. The kids are upset, the parents are upset. If they started communicating much earlier, I think all of that could have been spared. So just remember, everybody has different goals, different values. Your neighbor may have different goals from you. Some families are looking for the lowest cost possible because that's what their families dictate. Other families want what they perceive as the best school for their child, and they're willing to take out the loans to do so. And others just want to find the best college that comes with the best pricing. So again, everybody's different. This is about, working together. No matter where the children go, there are so many wonderful colleges and universities to choose from that they will all have wonderful opportunities for the students. Really, it's about up to the students to go and seek out those opportunities once they get on campus. But right now, I'm going to share two different situations with you that may help you with figuring out your goals for college, in terms of expenses. So with this example, we're going to talk about a student who wants to be a public school teacher. So we can have one student who chooses to attend an in-state university and another student who chooses to attend a private university, an out-of-state university, but a school that's more expensive. Now, ultimately, the two students that both want to be public school teachers, they end up teaching in the same school district. They end up taking the same licensing exams. They end up making the same salary. Was the one that went to the private college or the out-of-state college, did it make sense to spend the extra money? That's only something that you and your student can decide. But I just want you to consider that return on investment. To earn that same salary, it could have been done at a lower cost. Now, let's talk about another student, and maybe they have a very specialized major. Maybe in this instance, they want to be a medical researcher. For them, it may make a difference which college they choose to go to. It may impact their potential career choices or career options, and could impact their salaries. So it may be better to spend more money and then as an investment and be able to make more after college. Just something to consider. So going forward, if you have questions and want to learn about how college financial prep can help, you can always visit our website and click the button to schedule your call. Here is our website at www.collegefinancialprep.com. And you can always send us an email at hello@collegefinancialprep.com. I'm going to turn off this recording now. And if you have questions, you can let me know. A second.